Good morning and welcome to Unity in Lynnwood. Welcome to this time of silent meditation. I invite you to get comfortable in your chair, your feet on the floor, your hands open, and take a deep breath. A slow, deep breath. We are grateful for community, for compassion, for connection. And another deep, slow breath as we go into the silence. And gently return to this now moment. Take a deep breath. Wiggle your toes and fingers. Open your eyes. We are grateful for this community, for you here in this sanctuary, for you online. We give great gratitude for connection, for compassion, for reminders of who we truly are, for a deep understanding of what we're here to do. Great gratitude to Dr. Richard, Matthew, Nina, Michelle, Barbara Thorpe, Jerry, Cameron, for Daniel and Tim, and the leaders of the housing project yesterday. Thank you for showing up today. Thank you for your great kindness to yourself and each other. And so it is.
I spent my whole life searching for a shelter for my soul, an understanding of the greater plan. In these walls I've seen the light of love pure and divine, helps me remember who I really am. In every face it's clear, we're all God's children here, and it feels like home, it feels like home. I finally found a place where I belong. It feels like home, it feels like home, a family that I can call my own. It feels like home. It's a place to share your burden. It's safe to shed a tear, say a prayer and raise your voice in song, where every heart is honored and every path is true. No one's here to judge you right or wrong, and there's no shame, no sin in this place where love begins. And it feels like home, it feels like home. I finally found a place where I belong. It feels like home, it feels like home, a family that I can call my own. It feels like home.
Oh, what an honor to open our time together by creating a space in consciousness where we remind ourselves of our oneness, our unity, and that one presence which binds us all together. I invite you to close your eyes if you're comfortable doing so, and gently open yourself to this moment. And if you will, allow my words to be your words. Knowing that I am one with the infinite substance of which I am made, I allow in this moment that knowingness to sink more deeply into the marrow of my bones. And as I do this with absolute willingness and a complete surrender, I realize a deeper faith in the wisdom in and as me that guides me in all aspects of my life, as surely as it guides every living thing, and as surely as it holds the universe in perfect order. Knowing that I am one with this one infinite life that is breathing me in this very moment, I allow in this moment that knowingness to sink more deeply into the marrow of my bones. And as I do this with absolute willingness, with a complete surrender, I realize a deeper trust that I am one with all of the gifts of life, and that both the apparent ups and the apparent downs are all opportunities to know God and thus myself, and thus my fellow earth dwellers more deeply as one. Knowing that I am one with this ground of all being, I allow in this moment that knowingness to sink more deeply into the marrow of my bones. And as I do this with absolute willingness and a complete surrender, I realize a deeper faith and trust in the harmony that is expressed through me as compassion and empathy, as kindness, as peace, as love, both fierce and tender. Knowing that I am one with this infinite field of all possibilities, I allow in this moment that knowingness to sink more deeply into the marrow of my bones. And as I do this with absolute willingness, with a complete surrender, I realize a deeper faith and trust of how intimately intertwined with this intelligence I am, which is ripe with creative ideas, and that this creative flow is pressing against me, eager to be birthed through me. And I know that this substance, this wisdom, this life, this love, this intelligence, this peace, this creativity is inexhaustible. It is limitless. I may draw and draw and draw upon the well of the infinite, and I will never come up dry. Guidance is always at hand. Creative ideas are always at hand. Love is always at hand. Wisdom is always at hand. And I know that my only work is to ground myself in this knowing and to lay bare the lies that keep me from a more absolute knowing. My work is to have more faith in this truth so that I may express more fully the wisdom, the radiance, the life, the love, the peace, the intelligence, the creativity that is God. And so I am willing to look closely at what I think, I believe to be true, even that which I have held as near and dear, even that which I think comprises who I think I am, for I am so much more than I think I am. I am willing to catch a glimpse of my true nature, the expansiveness of who and what I am, and thus I am willing to release anything that is a barrier to knowing my oneness. And knowing that I am one with God, I allow in this moment that knowingness to sink more deeply into the marrow of my bones. And as I do this with absolute willingness, with a complete surrender, I deepen my trust in my knowing of the absolute reliability of this ground of all being. And so I claim this truth with courage and boldness. And as I do, I find a spontaneous bubble of joy rising up from the depths of my being. I give it space, knowing that this is life, making itself more deeply known to me. And I am overwhelmed with gratitude. And so it is.
It feels like home. It feels like home. I finally found a place where I belong. It feels like home. It feels like home. A family that I can call my own. It feels like home. I can see clearly now the rain is gone. I can see all obstacles in my way. Gone are the dark clouds that had me blind. It's gonna be a bright, 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 sunshiny day. I think I can make it now, the pain is gone. All of the bad feelings have disappeared. Here is the rainbow I've been praying for. It's gonna be a bright, 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 sunshiny day. there's nothing but blue skies, which is actually true. Look straight ahead, there's nothing but blue skies. Look all around, there's nothing but blue skies. Just look straight ahead, there's nothing but blue skies. I can see clearly now, the rain is gone. I can see all obstacles in my way. Gone are the dark clouds that had me blind. Here we go. It's gonna be a bright, 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 sunshiny day. It's gonna be a bright, sunshiny day. It's gonna be a bright, bright, sunshiny day. Right. You sound good, thank you.
Get it, Dr. Richard. Woo! Before I do anything, I want to point out that 9 years ago, this weekend, Dr. Richard candidated for the post of senior minister here at Unity in Lynnwood and was voted in unanimously by the congregation and board. So let's acknowledge that. Yes. Yes. So for 9 years, this man has been inspiring us and guiding us and leading us and making us laugh and playing some wicked piano. So. Good morning and welcome to Unity in Lynnwood. We are all so very, very deeply glad that you're here with us this morning. My name is Reverend Nina Clark and I am the Associate Minister here at Unity in Lynnwood, well, for a few more weeks anyway. And I'm personally extra delighted to share this morning with you, whether you're here in our physical sanctuary or whether you're here with us on our online sanctuary. These last Sundays are so very precious to me. And in my desire for those of you who happen to be new today to be inside of this circle of knowledge, these days are precious because I've accepted a job at Unity of San Antonio, Texas, and I'll be leaving at the end of the month. And for those of you watching online, we would love it, please and thank you, if you'd let us know where you're watching from. We love hearing where you're from. Unity is a movement that opens its arms to all expressions of God, no matter how you've chosen to express in this human incarnation. And while we as a movement have stumbled along the way, our core values of unity and oneness and our knowing that we are all perfect and beautiful expressions of the divine help us to recover from that stumbling and work and continue to work to live these core values into being with an even greater strength and a deeper commitment. And as part of that larger unity movement, we here at Unity in Lynnwood open our arms wide as well to all expressions of God. And that means you. We believe that there is only one, an infinite allness everywhere present. And while we choose to call this infinite allness God, we accept and embrace and celebrate all names for this infinite ground of all being, knowing that we each speak of the same wholeness out of which all creation emerges. We believe that this one life expresses through and as each one of us, and thus we are, each of us, divine, each of us holy, each of us sacred. And yes, that means you divine, sacred being, you. Each of us is sacred from our first breath, holy and so precious from our first breath. Beloved, we are filled with the limitless potential of a limitless creator, and we believe that we are all worthy of love, and that indeed we are love manifest. And so no matter who you are, and no matter how you've chosen to express in this human incarnation, we welcome you with open arms. Together here this morning, we stand on holy ground as sacred beings, and you, and you, and you, and you are welcome here. Thank you.
Good morning, Unity in Lynnwood. I'm happy to see you. She says she got a job. She says she got a job. Reverend Nina was appointed following a rather rigorous process as the senior minister for Unity of San Antonio, Texas. That's bigger than getting a job. How fortunate they are. How fortunate I am to yet again bask in the nobility of your presence. Thank you for being here. Yesterday, I don't know, 8,000 or 9,000 of our community members, in partnership with Homage Senior Services, descended upon the home of a local female and performed the 4th annual home makeover. The name of that initiative is Hands-On Housing. If you participated in that initiative, would you stand and just allow us to give you some applause? Under the leadership of Daniel Kalfas, supported by John Brooks and Tim Vokes, we thought we'd share some photos with you this morning. Right on. Walayn Sharples is the head of Unity in Lynnwood's local humanitarian outreach ministry. Walayn, thank you for supporting that collaboration. You have an amazing team. Practical spirituality, welcoming community. That admittedly short mission statement that speaks volumes. Every week I like to support this mission statement with one of these 6 value statements, which we developed in conversation with your Board of Trustees beginning in late 2014. Today, I offer the third, apparently. The third of 6. It reads as follows: we teach the unity of all life, transcendent of culture, era, or religion, or lack thereof. Save the date, dear friends, save the date for Unity in Lynnwood's all-community picnic. It's scheduled for the last Sunday of August. It will afford you the opportunity to connect personally with Reverend Nina and to offer her the blessing of your choice on her new beginning. Well, how do I do that? I can hear the question rising even now. Visit www.unityinlynnwood.org. You will see a calendar button. Push it. Navigate to August 28th and complete the form. It's as simple as that. And if that is a point of difficulty for you, we would consider it a selfish pleasure for you to call the office and to let us help. If you'd like to pray with someone following the conclusion of our time together this morning, Unity in Lynnwood is made better by the support of a team of trained prayer chaplains. Your role is simply to approach one of these individuals following the conclusion of our service and to allow them to support you. I would invite them now to stand that you might be able to identify them following the service. And just like an airplane, please be aware that the nearest chaplain may be behind you. Actually, you'll find them in the front following the service. Today's flowers. They are dedicated by Janet Stearns and Callee Gray in honor of Molly Linville and the Linville family in memorial of Molly's great-grandson, Titus. Words of invocation. You're welcome to read them with me, silently or aloud. You are welcome to simply allow them to have their way with you. They read as follows: though imaged and named variously, there is a singular and eternal ground of being from which all life emanates and into which all life retreats. We choose to call this ground of being God. By extension, we come to understand that we are spiritual in nature, human in expression, and limitless in potential. We gather today to remember such truths, to celebrate our unity, and to honor all life. Let's do that by finding the eyes of someone near to you and giving them one of these. I see you. I see you. I see you. I quote the author who wrote, "In the smallest fraction of a second, along the lines of a millionth of a millionth of a millionth of a millionth, space expanded in an unfathomable release of energy, generating temperatures of trillions of degrees at speeds exceeding that of light itself." And this expansion continues today. And from this initial moment of devastating destruction, life began to reorganize itself in ever higher ways. Galaxies were born, planets were formed, and residing at this very pinnacle of a long evolutionary process is you, listening to these words. You have come a long way, baby. And whether you ascribe to this popular theory or one of the other credible theories, yes, there are several credible theories, let's understand that in any case, the story inherent in the macrocosm is inherent in the microcosm. This story is, in a sense, our story. Let us be reminded in our own lives that operating just beyond any destruction is life, reorganizing itself in ever higher ways, that operating just beyond the death of a loved one, beyond the loss of a relationship, beyond the devastation of a retirement account, beyond the deterioration of a body, is life, ever reorganizing itself in higher ways. Let us be reminded that while destruction and creation appear to be enemies from an earthly perspective, they are lovers from the spiritual perspective. Find hope in this, for whatever is ending in your life is truly a new beginning. How do you like that? Is that beautiful or what? Yeah, I wrote that. I quoted me. That piece is from some 15 years past, however, and when I peruse who I once was, there are times when I think, But there are other times I find myself thinking, I want to share that. It wasn't too bad. Thank you. Join me, if you will, in recalling a childhood memory. It was some 2 billion years ago that the only life on this planet were bacteria. They were called prokaryotes, whose physical size was limited by a rigid membrane. So when these prokaryotes maximized the limits of their physicality, remember that the physical size could not expand beyond that rigid membrane, evolution momentarily stopped. And this necessitated a change in evolution's tactics. What happened is that individual bacteria began to reorganize into collaborative, coherent communities which expanded awareness and intelligence. And in so doing, evolution lunged forward again. These bacterial communities created a variety of mechanisms to communicate with each other, and over time, a new form of biological cell called a protozoan emerged. You will recall one such protozoan from your early biology class. It was called an amoeba. So while the amoeba might be perceived as a new organism, in truth, it's an evolved form of bacterial community. Now, the problem was that these new protozoans resembled water balloons. The protozoan membrane, like the skin of a balloon, could stretch only to a point. And like an overfilled balloon, the membrane was prone to rupture, causing the death of the cell. And because of this physical limitation, evolution momentarily stopped. And this necessitated a change in evolution's tactics. And what happened is that these individual protozoans began to reorganize into collaborative, coherent communities which expanded awareness and intelligence. And in so doing, evolution lunged forward yet again. In the earliest of these communities, protozoan cells started by performing these same jobs, but ultimately they developed specialized functions which led to the creation of differentiated jobs and to skills which would give rise to even grander communal organizations. You might know them as dandelion or dog, dolphin, Danny DeVito. So while it's accurate to say that a human being might appear to be a single entity, each of us is in fact an advanced community of 50 trillion specialized cells. Now, when the human nervous system reached something of a stopping point, if you will, evolution, yet again, momentarily stopped. And this necessitated a change in evolution's tactics. And what happened is that individual humans began to reorganize into collaborative, coherent communities which expanded awareness and intelligence. And in so doing, evolution lunged forward again, like the protozoans. In the earliest of these communities, humans started by performing the same hunter-gatherer activities, but ultimately developed specialized functions which led to the creation of differentiated jobs and skills, giving rise to even grander communal organizations. We might refer to these as tribes or cities, states, nations, all multicellular organizations of sorts. And here we are today, you sitting there at Unity in Lynnwood, wondering just how this could possibly have any relevance to your life. Well, I would suggest that while what you would recognize as being Darwinian understanding, while that understanding would describe this evolution from the prokaryote to the human being sitting to your right as a fluid and consistent process of random mutations, today's understanding would describe this evolution as life, moving ever so nicely over a period of time before arriving at a point of upheaval, necessarily reorganizing into collaborative, coherent communities that enable expanded awareness and intelligence, then lunging forward into new and higher ways of being. I would suggest that an evolution marked by competition and contest has given way to an evolution marked by cooperation and contribution. Now, maybe you can relate to this in your personal life. If normal has given way to upheaval, well, let this be an idea of comfort then. A couple billion years of cosmic education would suggest that new and higher ways of being are on your horizon. Now, I imagine we can all relate to this in our collective life. Scientists and spiritual thinkers alike tend to think that we have arrived at something of a point of upheaval in our collective lives, social, ecological, technological upheaval. Certainly, one might find this quite believable simply by turning on your evening news. I don't necessarily recommend that, by the way. And again, while it might be tempting to be frightened or to be discouraged, let's glean some encouragement. That couple 100 billion years of cosmic education would suggest that new and higher ways of being are on our collective horizon as well. The great Unity teacher, his name was Jack Boland, spoke to this way, that humanity's current position represents our worst, best moment. That if things are a mess, it's because upheaval is part of the process. And whether we consider life from an individual or from a collective perspective, what is it that stands between normal and new and higher ways of being? How are we supposed to respond to upheaval? Well, by reorganizing into collaborative, coherent communities that enable expanded awareness and intelligence. Whew. Now, individually, this teaching might suggest that you reach beyond the circle of your current understanding. Get 3 people nodding. I'm willing to do that. 4 nodding no. I will not be stretching today. Thank you very much. Socially, this teaching might suggest that you reach beyond the circle of your personal comfort. Collectively, this teaching might suggest that we reach beyond the circle of our known worlds. It's from the Jewish tradition that this idea is spoken in this language. 2 are better than 1. If either of them falls, one can help the other. If 2 lie down together, they will stay warm. If one would be overpowered, 2 can defend. A cord of 3 strands is not quickly broken. From the Muslim tradition, it's written this way: the world is one stage of the journey to God Most High. And since the destination of this journey, of this caravan, of these travelers is the same, we are one. And among these, meaning among us, there must be friendship and unity and mutual aid. It's from the Hindu tradition that the story is told of Bhagavan Rama, who collected a team of wildly mismatched creatures, from bears to monkeys to apes, even a squirrel, charged to build a bridge across the ocean from India to Sri Lanka. Now, certainly a bear cannot build a bridge across the ocean. Certainly a monkey, an ape, a squirrel cannot build a bridge across the ocean. But the story concludes by suggesting that together, a sum far exceeding their individual contributions found them successful in building a bridge across the ocean. So while there's this funny mindset that would place wisdom teachings and scientific discoveries at odds, they aren't. Our wisdom teachings have long intuited what our scientific discoveries have since revealed. Our wisdom teachings say new and higher ways of being call us to come closer together, not further apart. And our scientific discoveries say new and higher ways of being call us to come together, not further apart. New and higher ways of being will come as they have for 2 billion years through cooperation and contribution, not through competition and contest. So look, if you find yourself drawn by curiosity to a spiritual community that embraces all spiritual paths, maybe that's evolution longing to lunge forward through you. If you find yourself growing in compassion for all manner of life on the planet, maybe that's evolution longing to lunge forward through you. Are you exhausted by divisiveness? I won't ask for a show of hands. Are you exhausted by divisiveness? Are you weary of cruelty? Are you really quite finished with classism and racism and ageism and ableism and beyond? Well, maybe that's evolution longing to lunge forward through you. Maybe you're not so much exhausted and weary and finished as you are quite simply listening. You're listening. If you find yourself pulled toward collaborative, coherent communities that enable awareness and intelligence, whether that be in education or religion or social justice, animal rights, otherwise, maybe that's evolution longing to lunge forward through you. Our wisdom teachings and our scientific discoveries say the same thing. It's not through a coming apart that we will find our way forward. It is through a coming together. I like to reference the official motto of these United States of America: E pluribus unum, or out of many, one. A traditional interpretation, which might suggest from many states or from many colonies can emerge a unified nation, but a deeper interpretation suggesting that from ancient races, from countless religions, from varied languages, from distant geographies, from disparate ancestries, must emerge a unified humanity. Our wisdom teachings and our scientific discoveries say the same thing. A miraculous lunge forward awaits this planet once we accept the call to collectively tend the garden rather than fight over the turf. We take a deep breath together for a moment of deeper consideration, a time of reflection. Some call it meditation. It matters not. We take a breath. Allowing that breath to soften the physicality of you. To soften the temples, to uncurl the fingers. In a sense, to prepare and ready the very physicality of us for a wisdom which moves most easily through a prepared vessel. So we allow the breath to prepare us then. Into such a prepared vessel, we simply consider the question: by whatever name we choose to call it, if there is an evolutionary impulse that would lunge forward through me today, not through separation, not through distancing, but through a coming together, that expanded awareness, collective intelligence might be realized. What form might that take today? What form might that take through me? And we watch, we listen, we need neither reject nor accept. We simply watch.
There's a full moon over India, and Gandhi lives again. Who's to say you have to lose for someone else to win? In the eyes of all the people, the look is much the same. For the first is just the last one. When you play a deadly game, it's about time we realize it. We're all in this together. It's about time we find out. It's all of us or none. It's about time we recognize it. These changes in the weather, it's about time, and it's about changes, it's about time. There's a light in the Vatican window for all the world to see, and a voice cries in the wilderness, sometimes he speaks for me. I suppose I love him most of all when he kneels to kiss the land. With his lips upon our mother's breast, he makes his strongest stand. It's about time we realize it. We're all in this together. It's about time we find out. It's all of us or none. It's about time we recognize it. These changes in the weather, it's about time, and it's about changes. It's about time. There's a man who is my brother. I just don't know his name, but I know his home and family, and I know we feel the same. And it hurts me when he's hungry and when his children cry. Although I'm not a father, that little one is mine. It's about time we realize it. We're all in this together. It's about time we find out. It's all of us or none. It's about time we recognize it. These changes in the weather, it's about time, and it's about changes. It's about time. It's about peace, and it's about plenty, and it's about time. It's about you and me together, and it's about time.
Thank you, Dr. Richard. Thank you, Matthew. I think that deserves a little bit more love, don't you? So speaking of coming together, this is the time in our service where we give back so that we can continue to come together and do better and be a light in this world. So giving options will appear on your screen, and if you would like information about UIL's regular program of regular giving or reoccurring giving, which we call Giver Circle, feel free to contact me till the end of the month. And for planned or legacy giving, please write Dr. Richard directly. Oh, if you would understand your giving as a prayer, if you would understand your giving as an investment, if you would understand your giving as a vote, if you would understand your giving as a practice, and understand your giving as an energy, and always give with love. I invite you to hold your offering in your hand, whether it's material or intentional, and surround your hand with love. Surround your hand with love and your blessing, and then release it and let it go so that it can do its greater good in the world. And so it is.
Blessed always, blessed always, for the arms of God surround us. Let our joy be so triumphant that we rest in God. that we rest in God and say Amen.
You know, if you are new today, we would love to welcome you if you're new here for the first time. And if you would feel brave enough, if you're here for the first time, maybe just raise your hand so we can acknowledge you. Is there anyone new here today? Okay. Well, just in case you're new and hiding, in our welcome and information station in the back of the room, there's all kinds of information for you to explore. If you're new and hiding, you may go reveal yourself in the gift shop. We call it Soul Things, and there is a free daily word that we would like to offer you. And daily word is a small little book of inspirational readings that you can use throughout the month to inspire you. A lot of people use it as they first get up in the morning, or perhaps right before they go to sleep at night. And there are also plenty of resources in the chair back in front of you. Please feel free to review those and submit as you feel fit. And now I would like to introduce Tim Vokes, who is one of our Board of Trustees. He would like to make an announcement.
My wife agrees with the spraying. So, have a brief announcement. Many of you have been at town halls, things like that, over the last several months. And what we have here is a small situation. We've been trying to avoid this. I would like to bring up the concept or the idea of the last waltz, last call, the last fundraiser, okay? If we as a board and a community believe that with the introduction of Soul Greens through a lot of work with the community and where Reverend Nina is leaving this with us, that somewhere early in Q1 of next year, we will have a fully functioning restaurant that will bring in revenue to the community. And I'll never, ever, ever have to ask you again. Maybe. The point is, what we are contemplating, thinking, and right now I'm taking ideas, is this fall, call it, I don't know, a Saturday in November or October or something like that, would be to have a party in here. A little bit of food, some wine. Rumor has it some of these people know some people who sing and play music. We would like to raise funds. We haven't been doing our twice a year fundraising to get us through, if you will, so we can pay people, maybe start bringing back some of our musicians, some of our event coordinators, youth and family. The things that we've had to cut back on due to, we've all changed since COVID, and we're all trying to figure out what we're going to be and who we're going to be as a community moving forward. And we believe as a board that this would be the way to do it. And I hope it's the last time I ever have to ask. So if you have good ideas for a party or an event or some type of theme, I'm not doing pirates anymore. She's taking that with her because it'll be a fresh act in San Antonio. But I'll be around. Rest of the board will be around, and if you have good ideas, or if you hate the idea, I'd love to hear from you. Thank you.
I am so tempted to do a pirate joke, but I cannot, for the life of me, remember any of them. They were that bad. Oh. There are so many ways for you to get involved more deeply here at Unity in Lynnwood. Dr. Richard mentioned some of those earlier, picnics. We have small groups. We have an upcoming fundraiser. And all of those are accessible through our the calendar page at www.unityinlynnwood.org. Please feel free to go there and click. What did you say? Push the button and register for any one of those upcoming events. Today, we would like to invite you to join us for our newcomer potluck lunch. You can meet people and ask questions. All are welcome. You don't have to be new to attend. In fact, we encourage everybody to attend so that the people who are new have people to meet. That would be really nice. And I've noticed that there's some food out there in the Friendship Hall for that. And what? There's not? Oh, thank God. Thank goodness. So that we can actually feed you something at this potluck. So all are welcome. Please join us. And we have a prosperity class coming up starting Tuesday, October 16th at 7 p.m. And the description for that says, the natural order of things knows how to support its creation, both in whole and in part. And so the troubling yet empowering question becomes, are you cooperating with this natural order of things, or are you frustrating this natural order of things? Join with others who are willing to get themselves out of the way of that which longs to prove itself through and as you. And this will be facilitated by myself and Dr. Richard. We look forward to seeing you there. Thank you.
I think you're wildly creative and you're capable of drawing yourself to any number of circumstances, items, and people. My prosperity class is not about that. It is not about the immense creative potential you wield to manipulate at the level of effect. Prosperity for me means there is an essential core of you that deserves our recognition, our living from, and that when we do that, we find that a world of support opens. That's prosperity for me. The essential core of you arrived on planet Earth, fully funded. Fully funded. Do seek out a trustee following the service, or plan to join us for the next informal town hall. That's 2 Sundays from today, immediately following this service.
Yes, next Sunday.
That's what I meant. Thank you. 1 Sunday from today. I was using new math, Linda. I'm sorry. And for those who may be a little bit stymied, we do have a bit of a history of pirate-themed fundraisers. So thank you for indulging us that family moment. Take a deep breath with me. We close with that technology, that discipline we call prayer. You know, it doesn't matter what you call it. In fact, I quite encourage you to find a word that allows you to participate. My favorite word is elevation, a time of elevation, a time when I see higher, perhaps. And regardless of what we call it, let's close with that technology, with that ritual. And I do so by simply turning first within. It is the only pure place of realization beyond language, beyond matters of egoic clamoring, beyond the apparent divides of religion. It is within that we can touch that pure essence that both underlies and transcends all of it. Said in a different language, it is within that we can recognize God, the God of our understanding, the God of our being. For me, I glean comfort in the suggestion that the God of my being is a wisdom that's ample, a life that's eternal, a harmony that is ever working on our behalf, longing to be expressed, longing to be manifest into this world of form through human hands, through human hearts. And so I am comforted, knowing in a sense that of my egoic self, I really need do nothing. I need not coerce, I need not force. I need not engineer. I need simply to be available for that which already is. I need to be available for a sufficiency, available for a life, available for that wisdom that already is. And so my prayer then, in a sense, becomes yes. My prayer becomes yes. Yes, I am prepared. Yes, I am ready. Yes, I am willing for that which already is to be made manifest through this heart, through these hands. What a joy, what a privilege. And we close this time as we always do with sung words of blessing, with sung words of farewell.
May the long time sun shine upon you, all love surround you, and the pure light within you guide your way on, guide your